darkened window slid down inch by inch, only some shifting of light on the glass showing it moved. Flame spouted from it abruptly, the blended roar of 3 swift shots. Glass starred in the coupe. I yelled with agony. The yell went off into a wailing groan. The groan became a wet gurgle, choked with blood. I let the gurgle die, sickeningly, on a choked gasp. It was nice work. I liked it. Canino liked it very much. I heard him laugh. It was a large, booming laugh, not at all like the purr of his speaking voice. Then silence for a little while, except for the rain and the quietly throbbing motor of the car. Then the house door crawled open, a deeper blackness in the black night. A figure showed in it cautiously, something white around the neck. It was her color. She came out on the porch, stiffly, a warm woman. I caught the pale shine of her silver wig. Canino came crouched methodically behind her. It was so deadly it was almost funny. She came down the steps. Now I could see the white stiffness of her face. She started towards the car, a bulwark of defense for Canino in case I could still stick his eye. Her voice spoke through the lisp of the rain, saying slowly, without any tone. I can't see the thing, Nash. The windows are misted. He grunted something and the girl's body jerked hard, as though he had jammed a gun into her back. She came on again and drew near the lightless car. I could see him behind her now, his hat, the side of his face, the bulk of his shoulder. The girl stopped, rigid, and screamed. A beautiful, thin, tearing scream dropped me into the left front. I can see him, she screamed. Out the window, Lash. He fell forward like a bucket of lead. He knocked her roughly inside the back door and threw his hand up. 3 more spurts of flame cut the darkness. More glass scarred. One bullet went on through and smacked into a tree on my side. A ricochet whined off into the distance, but the motor went quietly on. He was low down, crouched against the gloom, his face a grayness without form that seemed to come back slowly after the glare of the shots. If there was a revolver he had, it might be empty. It might not. He had fired 6 times, but he might have reloaded it inside the house. I hoped he had. I didn't want him with an empty gun. But it might be an automatic. I said, finished. He whirled at me. Perhaps it would have been nice to allow him another shot or 2, just like a gentleman of the old school. But his gun was still up and I couldn't wait any longer. Not long enough to be a gentleman of the old school. I shot him 4 times. The cold straining against my ribs. The gun jumped out of his hand as if it had been kicked. He reached both his hands for his stomach. I could hear them smack hard against his body. He fell like that, straight forward, holding himself together with his broad hands. He fell face down in the wet gravel, and after that, there wasn't a sound from him. Silver wig didn't make a sound either. She stood rigid with the rain swirling at her. I walked around to Canino and kicked his gun without any purpose. Then I walked after it and bent over sideways and picked it up. That put me close to her. She spoke moodily, as if she was talking to herself. How does it bring you to come back? I said, we had a date. I told you it was all arranged. I began to laugh like a loon. Then she was bending down over him, touching him, and after a little while she stood up with a small key on a thin chain. She said bitterly, did you have to kill him? I stopped laughing as suddenly as I had started. She went behind me and unlocked the handcuffs. Yes, she said softly. I suppose you did. 30. This was another day and the sun was shining again. Captain Gregory of the Missing Persons Bureau looked heavily out of his office window at the barred upper floor of the Hall of Justice, white and clean after the rain. Then he turned ponderously in his swivel chair and tamped his pipe with a heat-scarred thumb and stared at me bleakly. So you got yourself in another jam. Oh, you heard about it. Brother, I sit here all day on my cranny and I don't look as if I had a brain in my head. But you'd be surprised what I hear. Shooting Miss Canino was all right, I guess, but I don't figure the homicide boys pinned any medals on you. There's been a lot of killings going on around me, I said. I haven't been getting my share of it. He smiled patiently. Who told you this girl out there was Eddie Mars's wife? I told him. listened carefully and yawned. He tapped his gold-studded mouth with a palm like a tray.
Guess you figure I ought to have found her.
That's a fair deduction.
Maybe I knew.
He said,
Maybe I thought if any woman wanted to play a little game like that, it would be smart. Or as smart as I could have. Let them think they were getting away with it. And then again, maybe you think I was letting Eddie get away with it for more personal reasons.
he held his big hand out and revolved the thumb against the index and second fingers. No, I said, I didn't really think that. Not even when Eddie seemed to know all about our talk here the other day. He raised his eyebrows as if raising them was an effort, a trick he was out of practice on. It furrowed his whole forehead, and when it smoothed out, it was full of white lines that turned reddish as I watched them.
I'm a copper.
He said,
Just a plain, ordinary copper. Reasonably honest, as honest as you could expect a man to be in a world where it's out of style. That's mainly why I asked you to come in this morning. I'd like you to believe that. Being a copper, I like to see the law win. I'd like to see the flashy, well-dressed mugs like Eddie Mars sporting their manicures in the rock quarry of Folsom, alongside of the poor little slum-bred hard guys that got knocked over on their first paper and never had a break since. That's what I'd like. You and me both lived too long to think I'm likely to see it happen. Not in this town, not in any town half this size, in any part of this wide, green, and beautiful USA. We just don't run our country that way.
I didn't say anything. He blew smoke with a backward jerk of his head, looked at the mouthpiece of his pipe and went on.
But that don't mean I think Eddie Mars bumped off Regan or had any reason to, or would have done it if he had. I just figured maybe he knows something about it, and maybe sooner or later something will sneak out of the open. Hiding's like real evil is childish, but it's the kind of childishness a smart monkey thinks is smart. I had him in here last night after the DA got through. He admitted the whole thing. He said he knew Camino as a reliable protection guy, and that's what he had it for. He didn't know anything about his hobbies or want to. He didn't know Harry Jones. He didn't know Joe Brody. He didn't know Geiger, of course, but claims he didn't know about his racket. I guess you heard all that.
Yes.
You played smart down there at Real Evil, brother. Not trying to cover up. You keep a file of unidentified bullets nowadays. Someday you might use that gun again. You'd be over a barrel.
I played it smart, I said, and leered at him. He knocked his pipe out and stared down at it broodingly.
What happened to the girl?
He asked, without looking up. I don't know. They didn't tell me. We made statements, 3 sets of them. For Wild, for the sheriff's office, for the homicide bureau. They turned her loose. Haven't seen her since. I don't expect to.
Kind of a nice girl, they say. Wouldn't be one to play dirty games.
Kind of a nice girl, I said. Captain Gregory sighed and rumpled his mousy hair.
There's just one more thing.
He said almost gently.
You look like a nice guy, but you play too rough. If you really want to help the Sternwood family, leave them alone.
I think you're right, Captain.
How you feel?
Swell, I said. I was standing on various pieces of carpet most of the night, being hauled out. Before that, I got soaked to the skin and beaten up. I'm in perfect condition.
What the hell did you expect, brother?
Nothing else. He stood up and grinned at me and started for the door. When I had almost reached it, he cleared his throat suddenly and said in a harsh voice,
I'm wasting my breath, huh? You still think you can find Rita?
I turned round and looked him straight in the eyes. No, I don't think I can find Regan. I'm not even going to try. Does that suit you? He nodded slowly, then he shrugged.
I don't know what the hell Amy said that for. Good luck, Martha. Drop around any time.
Thanks, Captain. I went down out to the city hall and got my car from the parking lot and drove home to the Hobart Arms. I lay down on the bed with my coat off and stared at the ceiling and listened to the traffic sounds on the street outside and watched the sun move slowly across the corner of the ceiling. I tried to go to sleep, but sleep didn't come. I got up and took a drink the same words to them over and over again, and yet each time it seemed real, like something actually happening, and for the first time. I was driving hard along the highway through the rain with Silverwig in the corner of the car saying nothing, so that by the time we reached Los Angeles, we seemed to be utter strangers again. I was getting out at an all-night drugstore, phoning Vernon Bowles that I had killed a man in Rio Leo, and I was on my way over to Wilde's house with Eddie Mars's wife, who had seen me do it. I was pushing the car along the silent, rain-polished streets of Lafayette Park and up under the porte-cochere of Wilde's big frame house, and the porch light was already on. Bowles having telephoned ahead that I was coming. I was in Wilde's study, and he was behind his desk in a flowered dressing gown and a tight, hard face, and a dappled cigar moved in his fingers and up to the bitter smile on his lips. Bowles was there, and a slim, grave, scholarly man from the sheriff's office who looked and talked more like a professor of economics than a cop. I was telling the story, and they were listening quietly. Sylvia sat in shadow with her hands folded in her lap, looking at nobody. There was a lot of telephoning. There were two men from the Homicide Bureau who looked at me as if I was some kind of strange beast escaped from a traveling circus. I was driving again with one of them beside me to the Fullwider building. We were there in the room where Harry Jones was still in the chair behind the desk, the twisted stiffness of his dead face and the sour, sweet smell of the room. There was a medical examiner, very young and husky, with red bristles on his neck. There was a fingerprint man fussing around, and I was telling him not to forget the latch of the transom. He found Canino's thumbprint on it, the only print the brown man had left to back up my story. I was back again at Wilde's house, signing a typewritten statement his secretary had run off in another room. Then the door opened, and Eddie Mars came in, and an abrupt smile flashed to his face when he saw Silverwig, and he said, "Hello, sugar," and she didn't look at him or answer him. Eddie Mars, fresh and cheerful in a dark business suit, with a fringed white scarf hanging outside his tweed overcoat. Then they were gone. Everybody was gone out of the room but myself and Wilde was saying in a cold, angry voice, "This is the last time, Marlowe. The next fast one you pull, I'll throw you to the lions, no matter whose heart it breaks." It was like that over and over again, lying on the bed, watching a patch of sunlight slide down the corner of the wall. Then the phone rang, and it was Norris, the Sternwood butler, with his usual untouchable voice. "Mr. Marlowe, I telephoned your office without success, so I took the liberty of trying to reach you at home." "I was out most of the night," I said. "I haven't been down." "Yes, sir. The General would like to see you this morning, Mr. Marlowe, if it's convenient." "Half an hour or so," I said. "How is he?" "He's in bed, sir, but not doing badly." "Wait till he sees me," I said, and hung up. I shaved, changed clothes, and started for the door. Then I went back and got Carmen's little pearl-handled revolver and dropped it into my pocket. The sunlight was so bright that it danced. I got to the Sternwood place in 20 minutes and drove up under the arch at the side door. It was 11:15. The birds and the ornamental trees were crazy with song after the rain. The terraced lawns were as green as the Irish flag, and the whole estate looked as though it had been made about 10 minutes before. I rang the bell. It was 5 days since I had rung it for the first time. It felt like a year. The maid opened the door and led me along a side hall to the main hallway and left me there, saying Mr. Norris would be down in a moment. The main hallway looked just the same. The portrait over the mantel had the same hot black eyes, and the night in the stained glass window still wasn't getting anywhere until the intentionally betrayed a trust. He closed his eyes on that. I said, "Is that all you wanted to see me about?" He opened his eyes again very slowly, as though the lids were made of lead. "I suppose you were angry at that remark," I said. I shook my head. "You have an advantage over me, General. It's an advantage I wouldn't want to take away from you, not a hair of it. It's not much considering what you have to put up with. You can say anything you like to me and I wouldn't think of getting angry. I'd like to offer you your money back. It may mean nothing to you, it might mean something to me." "What does it mean to you?" "It means I refuse A few. Everyone does.
Why did you go to see Captain Andrew?
I leaned back and hung an arm over the back of the chair. I studied his face. It told me nothing. I didn't know the answer to his question. No satisfactory answer. I said, I was convinced you put the dagger notes up to me chiefly as a test, and that you were a little afraid Regan might somehow be involved in an attempt to blackmail me. I didn't know anything about Regan then. It wasn't until I talked to Captain Gregory that I realized Regan wasn't that sort of guy in all probability. Let me still say nothing in question. I nodded. No, that is seriously answering your question. I guess I just don't like to admit that I played a hunch. The morning I was here after I left you out in the orchid house, Mrs. Regan sent for me. She seemed to assume I was hired to look for her husband, and she didn't seem to like it. She let drop, however, that they had found his car in a certain garage. The they could only be the police. Consequently, the police must know something about it. If they did, the Missing Persons Bureau would be the department that would have the case. I didn't know whether you had reported it, of course, or somebody else, or whether they had found the car through somebody reporting it abandoned in the garage. But I know cost. And I knew that if they got that much, they would get a little more, especially as your driver happened to have a police record. I didn't know how much more they would get. That started me thinking about the Missing Persons Bureau. What convinced me was something in Mr. Wilde's manner, and I didn't have the confidence of their business about Geiger and so on. We were alone for a minute, and he asked me whether you had told him